Hi, it's Krista at The Secret Yarnery. Welcome to Crochet Podcast, episode 181. Thanks so much for inviting me over. If you're new, my name is Krista. This is my Secret Yarnery, and this channel is all about crochet. Today, I am sharing with you my finished object, which you're gonna love, plus some whips. And I also need your opinion about what we should be doing first, so stay to the end to check that out. And should we just jump right into it, finished objects? It's right here. I'm just gonna show you. My Perfect Start Granny Stitch blanket. Isn't it great? So the top and the bottom match. You don't need a border for it. It looks perfectly finished as it is. And it's also a great stash buster. I used 6 balls of colored yarn, so 6 different colors, and half a ball of white. So 100 grams of each color and 50 grams of white. I just put 2 rows of white in between each color just to keep it fresh, just so each color can kind of stay on its own. I did think about doing a border. Okay, I wanted to do a border. I wanted to show you how to do a border on a granny stitch blanket, like just a simple granny border on a simple granny blanket, but I didn't like it. I'll show you what it looked like. You see that? So instead of being like nice stripes, it turned into like boxes. And I didn't want boxes, I wanted stripes. I didn't want it to be, you know, rectangles inside a white frame. I thought I did, and then I'm like, no, I don't think I do. So this is fabulous if you don't want to do a border. Edges are nice and straight. It's a 1-row repeat, and you just use up your ball of yarn. So I didn't count. Well, I counted just to see how different they were, but depending on what yarn you're using, maybe you'll get more rows than with others. So I use the same crochet hook and the same weight of yarn. I have to sew in those 2 tails. But the rest, I just used up all the yarn that I had. I used each ball of yarn until I didn't have enough to complete a row. So that is the Perfect Start Granny Stitch blanket. You can make it any size, just following the multiple in the tutorial or in the written pattern over on my channel, secretyarnery.com. So this is my finished object, and here are yours. If you want your finished objects to be featured, just tag me on Instagram or Facebook, Secret Yarnery 2026, and we can add you to an upcoming podcast. And look at all this beautiful work. Isn't that work gorgeous? I love it. It is so inspiring. Thanks so much for sharing. You also might notice, or maybe not, I have moved some things around the yarnery. So what happened, I'm so glad, like such a blessing. I got a portable AC for Christmas. So just so I can crochet in the summer months, like put, borders and things like that. It just gets a little too hot. So I got an AC, a little cheat, so I can just pop that baby on and crochet whatever temperature I feel like, nice and cold. But it has to be within a certain distance of the window. There's a pipe apparently. So that was kind of messing up the layout of my room, because I had my TV very close to my bed, and then the AC was going to be behind the TV, and then the AC wasn't cooling off the bed, which is my favorite spot to crochet. I love it. So I'm like, okay, we got to move some furniture around. So we did. So here is what the new Yarnery looks like. Same Yarnery, moved around. Ready? Yes, it has my almighty dining table. I've always wanted like a bistro table. Still, so you can like watch TV. I'm all because of the AC, so we had to move everything around for the AC. So now the AC points at my crochet bed, so I could do borders and stuff in summer. I have a upside down terracotta pot that is Rico's step. And all my whip station is still there. You just have space in between that. And then this used to be my neutral yarn, same size as the rest of my shelves. And I moved it. Oh, I also emptied all my crochet stuff from last year almost. I still have to put away my cozies. And then that is space for everything new. Oh, and that's I want to show that to you in a podcast. It's sitting there. Things to finish. Super excited. My yoga ball. My used ball station. My used skeins or balls of yarn. So they just go in by color. Best thing I ever did. I love that. And then here is my new neutrals. It's messy, but I guess that's what it looked like behind my TV. I just never got back there to fix it. So I do still have to organize all this, but not today. And then, of course, my balcony still needs some help also. But this is what I love the most. Always wanted it. So now we can sit here and have dinner, coffee, crochet a border with a table, and watch TV. How good is that? So I'm loving on it. I'm loving on it. I think it's great. So that is what is new. I hope you enjoyed the little tour. Look at that. Space. I love it. So now I'm wondering, why didn't I do that before? There's so much space in the Yarnery now. It is so lovely and open. But the only thing was now I'm looking at that big pipe hose going up my window. So I ran to like my dollar store and grabbed a couple artificial plants and just popped one behind and one in front. So now it kind of looks like a little jungle with an AC unit, and I'm all about it. I think it's super cute. And I'm so glad, like I feel like it's such a little oasis. Plus my little area here, my little dining area, mwah, it just makes me happy. So I'm really glad that all of that fell together, and I hope you enjoy it also. Now some comments I've gotten, which great. I love your comments. I read every single one of them. So some comments I got was about my yarn wall, and I do remember a little bit after COVID, I had at my old house, so podcasts like in the less than 100s, there was somebody, they commented, they're like, oh, I really liked your channel before you had the green screen. And I'm like, I don't have a green screen, but it was when I organized my yarn by color. So when it was just yarn, that was fine. But when it was organized by color, people thought it was a green screen. It'd be a great green screen, don't get me wrong, but yes, it's yarn. I can go and touch all of it. So when I did the last podcast, we picked colors for color of the year. What is it? Patina blue. I grabbed yarn and people were shocked. So, hold on, I printed them for you so I can also share with you. So Marla says, I thought your yarn in the background was fake. Oh my goodness, how cool that it's real. Thank you for taking and showing tips for colors. You explained it where I can do it easier now. Yes, it's yarn. That is my Yarnscape. And that is also why when I go yarn shopping, it's difficult for me because, well, it's not difficult, but it's usually not great because people, like yarn shops, organize it by type, and then it's kind of, which I understand you have to, but it's not as easy as it is for me because I have like 3 rows of type. I can just go and pick the colors, the shades that I like. So me, I love my Yarnscape being that way. And there is another comment from Beth Paint Stitch Dig. She says, this is the first time I've seen you pull yarn from your yarn wall. I was convinced it was a green screen. It is not. I can grab yarn from over there. That's where I do grab my yarn from. Minus my neutrals are behind you right now. But yeah, that's all my yarn. And then I received some really good questions last week also. So the first one is from Nizoni. Nizoni says, Krista, what does your family think of your established fame? And do you keep in contact with your students? Okay, well, I don't think I have established fame at all. I think like maybe 3 times someone has seen me and be like, oh my gosh, it's you. I love it. I think it's so nice to connect with you. I think most of you are not in my country. You're overseas and in different parts of the world. The people that are here, it's happened once at a restaurant. Someone came over and was like, oh, it's you, da, da, da. And I was like, that was so nice. And my husband and my kids were kind of like, they kind of stood back, to give, privacy or whatever. But I think he was a bit proud after. He's like, oh, they knew you, da, 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 da. And I was like, I guess so. I mean, it was sweet. So, and then one person saw me in a grocery store, and then they just sent me a message saying, I saw you at the grocery store, but I didn't say hi. And that's about it. Nobody knows me here. What they do know me for is the white lady with a bunch of kids. Because I have a biological, I have 3 adopted, and I'm married to an Indian man. So we have all different spectrums, and my kids are from all different tribes. So people know me for that. They don't know me for crochet. They don't know me for hair. They know me for the lady with all the kids. So if I'm going somewhere, I'm probably wearing a hat. If I'm going somewhere, they'll be like, oh, where's the kids? And I'm like, oh, they're in school, da, da, da. So that's, I guess, my fame here. And I don't notice it at all. But that would be what people would know me for where I live. Before I answer the second part of that question, I would like to take the opportunity to say a big thank you to all of our channel members. Thank you for helping me make more videos. Here they are, and thank you so much. And now getting back to the question of, do I keep in touch with my students? That is a great question. I do chat with them on WhatsApp occasionally. Some of them have left the country, gone off to study abroad. There are some kids that are one girl so cute. Her name's Maya. She called me the other day looking for yarn, so I set aside some beautiful cakes for her when she comes back into the country, and also just had a lovely breakfast coffee with Rachel. Rachel, amazing. She is from the UK, but she moved to Uganda 17 years ago and to Kenya 10 years ago, and she is a prolific crocheter. I cannot say that I taught her. She arrived at crochet class already knowing how to crochet. I think it was just like a connection and a place to make friends, which is fantastic. I remember teaching granny squares, and everyone was kind of struggling, as lots of people do with granny squares. And then she came back the next week with 124 granny squares done in cotton yarn with a 4mm crochet hook. I do even think most of her ends were sewn in. And we were all like, what? Everyone else had made like 4 or 5 granny squares. She had 124. It was crazy. So she moved out of Nairobi. She lives out in the countryside, a beautiful place where she lives. But she came to Nairobi last week, so we had breakfast together, and it was so great. We're going to meet up again next month. There's a yarn shop opening in closer. Well, a place where I can park my car, which is great. Most of the places that have yarn shops in Nairobi, I cannot drive to. They're not like places with parking lots, so that's inconvenient, but they're opening up one, which I'm assuming is going to have parking, so I'm super excited about that. It opens up at the end of February, so we're going to have a date and go yarn shopping together. And then, yes, whenever I have, and of course, Litza, you all remember the hand from one of our live chats. She was very shy, so she only put her hand across the top of the screen, but we get together quite often, and she is still crocheting up a storm. She is working on the Northern Diamond squares. She has almost finished them, and I think starting to join. She's putting 1 extra row around the edge, but she has made a lot. She's also doing it in cotton with a small hook. It is going to be gorgeous, but now she is remembering why I said that project probably wasn't for her, because it is going to be like a big project. It's a long project. She's been working on it for months and months and months. So that is my crochet students. They are still around and fabulous. Next question is from Elizabeth. She has a good question. She says, I love super dark purple. Karen has a beautiful dark purple, but it looks black in the project. Is there a way to maybe use certain colors next to it so it shows up? Have you had this problem also? I did in an upcoming project. I can't show you now. You're going to freak for it. It is so good. But it is true. When I look at that purple, I can grab the purple. It's right here because it's in my purple bin. Look at my purple bin. I love it. So this is my dark purple. And for you on the screen right now, it might look black. It does when I'm filming. Like when I'm doing a tutorial with this yarn, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's black. You can't see the stitches. I try not to use it in tutorials. I love it. It looks great in real life. It's fantastic. But on camera, sadly, it does not pop the way that it does in real life. So I understand a dark purple, the issues with dark purple. I have done it with like a light purple next to it so you can kind of see that it's the same, you know, like a light purple, dark purple. But I think if you put like a gold, it's hard to say. Let me get the color wheel and we can go over the color wheel together. And if you've experienced this problem and have a suggestion, also tell us in the comments. I'm going to go grab the color wheel. Okay, so that's how I do it. I put a light purple beside it so that you can see that it's purple and not black. And then let's find it on our trusty color wheel. Oops, I gotta put it in the center. So here is our dark violet at the very bottom. Yellow. Would you put purple and yellow together? I guess like a pansy. If you think of a pansy, it is dark purple with yellow together. Also, let me spin it the other way around. Put the center one up. So it suggests lime green, bright yellow, pretty bright orange. I was thinking this color. I don't know why. I thought that color would make it look nice together. Like an orangey shade. I have not perfect. Just to kind of help it not be black. Yellow I don't really have out right now, and then I have green. It's saying these colors, ooh, this is the wrong color. This green. Maybe if we go like this, hold on. I'll put all those colors down and we put the purple along the top. Does any of those help you? What's your suggestion for that? If you have solved the dark purple problem, let us know in the comments. And also, you can also just do the lighter. I just cheat and put a lighter. Which one do you think makes the purple look best? I think the bottom ones. I think the color wheel wasn't lying. Anyway. Good question, and I hope we get it answered. We'll pop back in next week and see what all the suggestions were. All right, so those are your questions, and if you want a question answered, also ask in the comments, and we can include it in an upcoming podcast. Now, we are getting close to February, which of course is Valentine's Day, which is like hearts and romance and roses, which I feel like I have done, and I'm just gonna skip over Valentine's Day completely, and I'll just tell you about the granny squares I've already made and all the projects you can make with all the heart tutorials I've already made, and then I was like, I don't like the heart. Right? I'm like, I don't want a granny heart, I want a heart. So these are my hearts that I have made. I started with a solid granny square start and then realized I didn't like it. See all those big holes in there? I'm like, it still looks really messy, so did it without the granny square start, but there's still holes in there. Stitch count is not perfect. Same with this one. It's getting better, but it's still a bit wrong. I think this one is all right. I didn't finish it though, but I got past what I needed to get done. I think it was the start or the point down here that's better in this one. And I think this is a finished one. So the point is nice and pointy. It's a really nice heart shape. The center is solid. There's no gaps. And it's an easy to remember repeat. Like there's the same numbers you're doing. So you don't have to like remember a whole bunch of different numbers as you're working on this pattern. Oh no, this isn't. Look, I did trebles there. That's not right. So maybe this was the finished one, but I just didn't finish it because I got past the part that's good. So that was not the right one either. But I think this one might be. Yeah. this would be the finished one if I finished it. So now, I thought this would be super cute, made into a little pillow, a little puff pillow. So just a little bit of stuffing inside, super easy join. So easy to do. So you just make 2 different hearts. Even the ends, this end at the top and the end there, I didn't even sew them in. I just kind of kept them on the inside of the heart. A little cheat for us there. And they are super cute to do. I'm going to reduce this little point here by like 2 chains maybe at the end of the heart, but the rest is absolutely perfect. I thought they'd be so cute hanging on doors or just a little wall hanging or even a whole bowl of them or a platter would be super, super cute in different colors. So that is the pillow. I also thought make it into a granny square, like a real granny square, so I did. The stitch count is all right. Everything is okay, but it feels a little knobbly. It doesn't feel great. It feels like, well, it feels like it looks. It feels lumpy. So I was like, okay, well, what if we did it better than that? That was the first one. This, look at that. So nice and flat. Perfect join, same amount of stitches, both sides. Plus, as you are growing this granny square, you can mix and match with traditional granny squares. So it's going to be sets of 3 for each round if you wanted to join it up with different granny squares or traditional granny squares that are sets of 3. This pattern is sets of 3. So that is an amazing, I'm so happy with it. I'm doing a whole bunch of things with this, including a sweater. Don't tell anybody. You're going to freak for the join. It's going to be everything. So tell me which one you want to do first. If you want to do just a heart, if you want to do the pillow, if you want to do the granny square, let me know. So let me know that in the comments. So that is what's happening in the Yarnery this week. I can't wait for this weekend's tutorial. Let me know which one you want first. And I'll be waiting for you in, is it over here? That video over there. Stay hooked. Okay, this is Crochet Podcast. Episode 181. I'm at a table. Can you even see me? Do I have to sit up? I should just make a little bit lower. Hold on. This side's dark. I think I'm supposed to be over here for the lighting. So this blanket is my finished object, and now I'm going to start sharing with you about my whips. No, I'm not. Hold on. Hello?
What are you doing?
Just finished filming a podcast. Huh?
Oh, you gotta like stay away from the sun today. 4 days. Apparently there's gonna be a really bad heat wave. Do you see? You saw that? I sent you.
Yeah, you sent me hotly.
So as long as there are no mother children. Did I apologize to you?
Oh, yeah, in her own way.
What'd you say?
I know you hate me, but I'm really sorry, you know.
Yeah. I told her yesterday.
What?
You better apologize to mom.
Well. Okay, stay hooked.